Welcome to the Lowdown on Ghana Web TV. This is your most informative socio-political program you can find online. We bring you facts and updates on issues that matter to you. My name is Nii Akwei Ismail Akwei. In this edition, we are going to ponder over the petroleum crisis, if I may call it that, in Ghana and in the world. And the pricing of petroleum products in Ghana especially is so high, and it keeps going high every day. We are going to discuss how we can, or even the government authorities can help bring this down, and also what contributes to the problems that we are facing now. Our guest is in the right position to speak to us about this issue. We'll be right back after this break. Welcome back. This is the Lowdown. My name is Nii Akwei Ismail Akwei, and our guest is right here. He is the communications manager of the National Petroleum Authority, Mr. Mohammed Abdul-Kudus. Welcome, Mohammed.
Thank you.
So the NPA is mandated by law to regulate the downstream industry, petroleum downstream industry in the country. What does that mean? Does that mean you are in charge of the pricing as well?
Oh, absolutely not. Let me say thank you for having me here in your studios. The Act of 205, Act 691, has defined our role clearly. We are supposed to regulate, monitor, and oversee activities of all petroleum-related activities actually in the downstream sector. So what it means is that right down from the importation of it, either refined or crude, to the storage or refining of them in Ghana, to the distribution and ultimate sale at the pump where you and I go to buy. That's basically what we do. So the regulating, monitoring, and overseeing does not include pricing.
But you said sale and pricing?
So I said to the ultimate sale at the pump,
yes,
by the suppliers. So we are to look at what they do, how they do it, and whether they are in conformity with the act as it has actually played out for them to follow. So our work is virtually cut out, that we should monitor, regulate, and then oversee that activity. Some would think that that activity should include pricing. Obviously not. There is a pricing formula that has actually stipulated how the price at the pump should be arrived at. The management and overseeing of that particular formula is with the National Petroleum Authority, but we do that in conjunction with the suppliers in the industry. So they would have to go and bring their products. So in bringing their product, they have a cost that they incur in the cost of the product itself. They have a cost that they incur in the acquisition of the dollar for the purchase of the product, because as we are all aware, we don't use the local currency in procuring the product. It is in the international market to use the dollar, and there's a cost to pay for the dollar that they acquire to go and buy the product. Then there's a cost of freight that they need to transport the product from where they are bringing it from outside Ghana to Ghana. Then there is a loading facility, or if you were the storage facility that they are supposed to come and put the product in. All of it adds to the build up into the price. Aside that, so that's kind of ex-refinery, okay? So out of that, then we now bring in the margin that is expected of them to be able to recoup their investment, because they are not for the Christmas, obviously. They are people into business. So when they are bringing the product, they expect to have a certain return on their investment. We together with them would have to determine how much margin is acceptable. The law actually mandates us, and there is a department responsible for that. So
the department in the NPA is responsible for
the pricing. Yes, the pricing department.
Yes. So it's the NPA that plays a role also in the pricing.
So we don't determine. We virtually play like a certain policing responsibility. Okay, we ask you to bring the very ingredients that must add up to the price. So we independently verify to confirm, in fact, the information that you give us is true and a reflection of what is actually out there. Then we agree and determine that, okay, So give us your indicative prices. Indicative prices here means this is the boundary within which I intend to sell the product to, okay, the consuming public out there. So you deposit that particular indicative prices with us.
So how come we see different prices at different fuel stations?
Absolutely. So fortunately, a lot of people don't know that we're not operating a certain perfect market out there where prices are the same. No. Because people go to bring them at different places, okay, they know how they get it. So let's assume that those of us in this room are all OMC holders who have to be dealing the product, or even if you want the bulk oil distributors, the place you get your product from, because there are a lot of petroleum hubs across the world. Okay, we have the Rotterdam, we have the Singapore, we have a lot. So depending on where you go to get it, depending on how you get your forests, okay, and depending on how much it costs you to transport, your ultimate price build up could vary from one person to the other. So the prices would not be the same. That is why we at NPA and the pricing unit particularly would then demand of you to feed the unit with what you incurred, okay, in bringing the product and to want to sell the product to the ultimate consumer. Then we then put the taxes, the levies and margins on it, and we arrive at that. So the indicative prices, like I alluded to earlier on, you just give us the bracket within which you want to sell the product. We would only ensure that you don't sell it beyond what you say you would sell. But you are at liberty to sell below what you say, you tell us that you would be selling. Okay, so you would go to an OMC, depending on its market strategy, okay, would probably want to sell maybe a peso or 2 pesos less than a competitor who is just close. It's a marketing strategy, because to a lot of consumers out there, a peso means a lot. Okay, so when you go and you're going to buy the product, maybe as sensitive as you are to price, you will determine to either buy from oil marketing company A or oil marketing company B. Okay, so the prices are out there. They are allowed to really sell it at the price that they wish to sell it, but obviously not above what they have posted with us at NPA as their indicative prices.
Currently, we have over 5,000 service providers with the NPA, right?
So it depends on the service provider you're talking about, because we have the OMC. If you move from the OMC, then we have the filling or service stations.
Okay.
So those are the ones that we buy from the pumps. They are in excess of thousands. So they are in the numbers that you are mentioning. And then the OMC, I think they are about 370 thereabouts.
And you work with all of them?
We work with all of them.
Yes.
We work with all of them.
So do you sanction? Have you sanctioned any
Absolutely.
recently?
Absolutely. We are regularly on the field. So we have a quality unit, for example, that is responsible to ensure that the product that you sell to the consumer is of quality. One of the responsibilities of National Petroleum Authority is to ensure value for money, so that when the consumer goes to buy the product, the consumer must be getting a value in return commensurate to the amount of money that he or she has spent. And the value for money is not just in the quantity, but it's equally in the quality. So our department regularly goes out there to ensure that what the filling stations or service stations are selling are wholesome and of quality that we have set for them, so that if you don't, we close your station.
Can you give us some examples of some of these quality issues you've identified out there? For instance, let's say an OMC company brings in the oil, you do your testing. What do you normally find when you test?
Okay, so without pretending to understand more of the technical work of the quality department, because if my quality manager had actually been here with me, maybe he'll be able to speak to the minutest of the details that you'd expect. But we have a spec for which the product must qualify if you are bringing it out of Ghana into Ghana. Then we have the spec for the local refineries that we have in Ghana. We have 3 refineries in Ghana. So the spec is not the same as the spec for the one that we are importing or you are importing into Ghana. So when we come to you, you would certainly, when you bring it to Ghana, as this one is in the importer, bulk oil distribution companies, they would go and bring the fuel. When they bring it, they are supposed to go through the system of ascertaining the quality, then they would come and inform us at NPA. We independently would also verify to be sure that, in fact, it meets the standard. If it doesn't, you take your product back wherever you bring it from. You won't sell it in our market. And we do that repeatedly. The risk of running down a business entity, okay, is what sometimes I particularly try to shy away from mentioning them. But we regularly publish some of them because the contamination or the effect on the quality might not necessarily be the doing of the business person, but it could actually come out of the process. Like I said, you are buying it from somewhere, you are now going to transport it, you're supposed to store it. Out of this particular process, something small, an irresponsibility on the part of a player within the value chain could compromise the quality of it, not necessarily you, the business person. So if I start to mention names, okay, I might be a little unfair, okay, to the business and its a brand name.
Despite being a long time since you published some of these defaulters, I think it's right to continue publishing. But
yes,
you don't need to mention names here.
Yeah. I think wait. I'm trying to remember exactly when we did that, but before close of last year, we published some names.
I mean, since then, everybody has been of good behavior.
Oh, so depending on the extent of the illegality. So there are some that we give you the benefit of the doubt, okay? But immediately we will close you down. Then to get through the process to try to determine whether, in fact, what we saw and determined to be improper is actually the case. So when we go through the processes and, in fact, it is true, you probably are fined depending on what is stipulated in the act. Okay, we could fine you, we could seize your product. We have a lot of sanctioning regime that allows us how to deal with you. If it turns out that it probably was not intentional or you didn't do it, or we probably got our whatever that we thought was wrong with you, rather on our part to be wrong, then we'd open up your station again and you continue to sell. So when a station is locked up, what it means is that that station has been determined to have had a certain infringement or is about to commit one. Okay, we normally try to err on the side of the consumer, okay, not on the side of the business person. Okay. Because if it is unwholesome, and we give you the benefit of the doubt and somebody puts it in his car or her car and it gets damaged, at least that would not be too fair. So we try to err on the side of the consumer. But when we take you through the process and we see that, oh, in fact, it was not your fault, it probably was our wrong observation, then we come back and open you again. So that's why I've repeatedly tried to advocate to the public out there that the quality of the fuel is not in the brand name, or it is not in the price. There are a lot of people who think that the price, and you know, it is a typical Ghanaian mentality. The higher the price, the quality of the product. You know that? A lot of people try to associate or marry price with quality. When I buy my shoe and I say I buy it at 50 cedis, probably somebody will not have a second look at it again.
So how do the consumers know if it's quality or not?
That's what I'm saying. That so if you see a station that is operating, the presumption must be that the quality of the product is guaranteed and of standard.
Every station?
Every station. Until and unless we lock them up. That's what I'm saying. So until and unless we lock them up, the presumption for every customer out there must be that the product from that particular filling station is of standard, is of quality, and is wholesome.
Let me bring us back to the pricing issue. I know you said, but you explained how the NPA is involved in determining the prices. However, we see a lot of, pictures and screenshots and other things like that of prices of some fuel stations. How do we know if they are really using the approved price? Do you have a team that goes out there to check pricing at fuel stations? Do you monitor? How do you do your monitoring?
Okay, so like I said, we have various departments who are charged with these responsibilities. Sorry, one has to do with the standards within which the station must operate. Okay, so we have a department that regularly goes out there all year round to make sure that what you are supposed to have at a filling station or a service station is indeed what you have there. So I keep using service or filling station because they are not the same.
Okay.
Service station is a pump station where you go to buy your fuel, where you can equally have vulcanizing or change of oil and those things. That's proper service station, is complete. The filling station is where you just can go and get just the petrol or the diesel that you come to buy. They don't have the allied activities that a service station should have. So each of them has a certain requirement that it ought to have to be able to be out there to operate. And so our monitoring and inspection department regularly goes out there to ensure that you have the infrastructure as it is supposed to pertain to the kind of place that you are operating, whether it's a filling station or a service station. We have a health and safety department, equally, that goes to ensure that you have what it takes in the event of an accident or something, so that we are able to arrest it. It doesn't blow into a proportion that we cannot all contain. So that department is equally there. Then there's another one that is responsible for the quality, like I mentioned for from the beginning. Then there's the one that also looks at the price, because regularly you would hear people would complain that I've seen the fuel, or probably I've bought a certain quantity at a different filling station. My gauge was to a certain point. I've gone to buy a same quantity and the gauge is not at the same point. Meanwhile, I'm buying from the same OMC. So maybe you buy from the OMCs are the Guels, the Totals, the Nasones, the Nagamnes. So all those with the board that you see the inscription on it, that's the name of the OMC. Yeah. So the law is supposed to, the law says that so all OMCs, filling station and the one OMC sell the same price, regardless of their location. So if you go to Guel in Tema, you get the same price as the Guel in Bolga, okay? Because we have the uniform pricing formula that allows that.
So how do the consumers know they are not violating the rules? Because the consumers are seeing all the pricing on their boards in front of their fuel stations. How do we know? Do we come to NPA to tell them, well, I saw this change this day, but it's not the same as the fuel station in Bolga, which is cheaper, or maybe another one which is of a different OMC? How do we get to know? Is there any way we could do that?
Okay, so that is why by law they are supposed to advertise, okay, how much they are supposed to sell per liter. They are supposed to advertise that. If they don't have that, then our authority would have to take them on to understand why they don't.
How the authority know that?
So part of it has to do with the conversation we're having, for example, this morning. And then the consumer out there, when they pick the information from our conversation, then they know that we have an office, we have a line dedicated by a staff who take complaints regularly. So that you are driving past a filling station, you see something irregular. Probably before the end of the show, I would give out the numbers. Okay. You see something irregular, you just pick your phone and call us. We don't need to send your name or your person to that particular place. We would go to the filling station immediately, and we have a department solely responsible for that, the consumer service. They are supposed to ensure that whatever that is untoward is corrected, and the consumer ultimately is not shortchanged. So we have that unit that monitors the irregularities on the field, and then we get appropriate department that are supposed to go sanction them or take a certain action against them to go and do that. So we do that constantly.
Ghana is reported to be producing about 100,000 barrels of crude oil, and the question has always been coming up that why are we not using our own crude oil to be able to maintain or regulate the pricing of our fuel in the country? And I would want your answer right after this break. This is the Lowdown. My name is Nii Akwei Ismail Akwei. We'll be right back after this. Welcome back to the Lowdown on Ghana Web TV. My name is Nii Akwei Ismail Akwei, and our guest is the Communications Manager of the National Petroleum Authority, Mohammed Abdul-Kudus. So we're talking about pricing, and you made it clear that there's a department that handles pricing, and also, the department is out there. They are looking at other things like quality control and everything else. However, one question that keeps coming up is, why is Ghana not using its own crude oil that is mining to be able to mitigate some of these effects of the petroleum issues out there, like the Russia-Ukrainian conflict that has affected petroleum sale and the prices and everything like that? How much is Ghana producing currently?
I try to hesitate in responding to that line of questioning or that particular subject matter, because we are not seized with that responsibility of mining.
Okay.
That's GMPC. Okay. But like I said, I hesitate, but I would still want to speak to it, because ultimately we're sharing information and trying to educate the public. And I spoke to our department, and there's a department responsible for research. And the information I have is that Ghana produces about 150,000 barrels per day. That is what is produced out of Ghana, 150,000 barrels. But the share of Ghana, of the 150,000, is just about 28,000 barrels. Yet we consume about 96,000 barrels a day as a country. You net that, you realize that we need more than we have or we get out of the production that we do in Ghana. So ordinarily, if you net it, you realize that we are net importers. Okay, net importers. So somebody would ask, even if it is 28,000, and let's say that the projected price per the 2022 budget was around $70. Today we are talking about 130 United States per barrel. So you would be making a windfall. That windfall, I'm not too sure how it's going to be able to come in and mitigate, given the volume or quantity of fuel that we consume a day. Because like I said, if what we have as our share as government of Ghana is around 28,000, yet what we consume as a nation is around 96,000. Okay, obviously that cannot be. So the proper so-called producing country of fuel, I'm not sure Ghana is there yet. Even though Ghana could have a stream of a revenue source from that, but what it would take to give a certain sufficiency, I don't think that we are there yet. And so that question should not come, if you ask me personally. But like I said, I hesitated, but because we are all trying to educate the public, because I've heard many have that discussion, suggesting that, but how are we producing fuel and then we are not having the benefit of it in Ghana? Obviously, because it's a stream of revenue to the budget of Ghana and the government particularly, there could be certain activities that are being used, okay, for that particular money. But to be able to offset the rising cost of fuel on the world market and what you and I buy at the pump, I'm not sure that will be possible, at least not in the near future. Okay,
with your job with the OMCs and working on the oil they bring in, the importation and all of that as part of your mandate, how many of them are importing from Nigeria? Is that an information you also have?
No, I don't have that information, and I would doubt that they really are bringing any a product from Nigeria. I don't have that information though, because like I said, there are two kinds of fuel that they normally bring. Either it is a crude oil that is brought to Ghana and it's refined by the oil refineries that we have in Ghana here, or they bring a finished product. Okay, and a lot of them, what happens is that they buy it around Amsterdam. Okay, they buy it around that particular majority of what we deal in. That doesn't mean that you cannot go elsewhere and went and buy it. But ultimately, whatever that you are bringing you are bringing into this country must meet our specifications. If not, the quality control department of our authority, trust me, would stop you, and you as a business person might be running at a loss.
So where do you check the crude oil or the refined products? At the port?
Oh, okay. So like I said, there are two things. When you bring the product into the country, so if it is what is the term, finished product, you would have to go take it through the certification to tell us that the product is of the standard that we have put out. When you give us that, we do not just look at it and say, okay, when sell. We would also do our independent check, and we have a lab of our own that will also do the examination.
Is the lab in the office here?
Yes, it's in the office here.
Okay.
It's in the office here. It's probably would be something that one day I'll take you through to see a lot of things that are in the building that many people don't know. It's not just about the human beings, tables, and computers. There are a lot of things that are doing wonderful work for us. Like today, we sit here and we see all the tankers that are moving within the country. Just in the office there, we see everything, we monitor.
If we say office there, we are talking about the office at Jolu.
Yes,
right?
just a 2-minute drive away from here.
Okay.
Yeah, so we have the mechanism, we have everything that we independently also verify. And when what we have checked matches up with what you have provided to us, it means that your product is of quality, is of standard, and then you are ready to go to the market with it.
So do they check with the FDA, the first certification? Do they get it from?
Yes. So they are independent thing to do.
Okay.
But obviously, FDA has that particular responsibility, so they check.
Before they bring it to you?
Yes, before they bring it to us. So when they bring the certificate, telling us that they have all the clear, to go and sell it in the market there, we will take it. But still also come for a part of your product, take a sample, then come to our lab, independently verify. And then when we are sure of that, then you are ready to go.
Okay. And then you move to the next department because the pricing part of it.
Yes.
And all of that.
Yes. So the pricing part, like I said from the beginning, you would come and tell us how much it costs you. You understand? Right from the point of purchase to bringing it to Ghana here. And then when we do all the arithmetic, we would also independently verify. Because you add the cost of the forest. We know how much the forest should be. So you just don't come and quote any price to it at all. We know where you bought the product from. We verify from the product where you bought it. So we are sure. And the cost of freight, how much it costs you to transport, we know. So when we do all of that, that comes out with the ex-refinery. Then we now bring the taxes, the margins that is supposed to go to the business person. Assuming you are the person bringing it, you would certainly have a certain margin you are expecting. Okay, we do that together. The pricing department does it with you. We then have the understanding that, okay, this is how much you've incurred. This is how much margin you should charge. When we add the taxes, levies that are supposed to be put to rate, then it becomes the ex-pump. And that is what you and I would now go to the pump station to go and pay for. So what we pay for is the cost of the product that is brought, the cost of the forest that is used in bringing it, the cost of the transportation that brought it, the margin that is supposed to go to the business person, the margin that is supposed to go to the dealer at the filling station or the service station, then the taxes that is supposed to go to government, then the margin that is supposed to go to statutory bodies. There are statutory bodies charged with responsibility in the fuel that we consume. And the wisdom of the framers of the act built in their margins into that, so that it doesn't take central government to always subvent them or give them money for them to do that work. That money is built in the prices that you and I go to the pump to buy. So take Boss, for example. Yeah. Boss has a margin. I'm not too sure if I'm right, but the margin is around 10 pesos per liter or so. So for every liter of fuel that you buy, you pay a certain margin that goes to Boss. And that is what Boss use in developing and maintaining its infrastructure. That is why you don't need a vehicle to come all the way from Bolga to Tema to come and load. There's a Boss depot in Bolga. There's a Boss depot in Bupi. There's a Boss depot in Kumasi. Then there's a Boss depot in Tema. Okay, that allows storage and distribution of fuel easily and regularly, so we don't have a shortage.
So how long does it take to go through that process for the OMCs?
I might not be able to tell that. I did not probably anticipate this particular question. You know, as we do it at the communication, you try to take your briefing, okay, and then you come and speak to the public. I've not taken my briefing on that. Maybe subsequently I'll get that information.
Okay, so that's fine. This is the Lowdown on Ghana Web TV. We are talking about fuel pricing and how our petroleum products go through the NPA's system before they get onto the market. I know in the past we used to see some fuel stations that use glass bottles and they pump it that way, and it's very traditional, very local. Do we have any nowadays, or there's none?
We call them the gao.
Ah.
They are still in the system, but they are restricted in their operational areas.
Okay.
They are not supposed to operate within the metropolis or the district capitals, because the presumption is that there must be a filling station at those places. But there are places that you don't find filling stations there, and vehicles ply on those roads. You certainly need them. They too will monitor, will regulate and oversee their activities to ensure that they are working within standards.
So they are legal?
They are legal.
And they have certification?
They have certification.
Okay.
We call them the gao. Yes, that's still there. What we don't allow or tolerate is those that who are selling on tabletops.
Okay.
So those are the ones that are mostly patronized by taxi drivers and motorcycles. They just go by the roadside. That we don't allow because the hazard is too much.
Okay.
So they are outlawed, and the police is working with us to make sure that they are not in the system. But you see, the nature of their operation makes it easier to want to outwit the security agencies and NPA particularly, because it's a tabletop. You understand? You chase them out, they change your location. You chase them out, they change your location. And NPA, given our limited number, even inclusive of the police, we cannot be at all of the places all of the time. Okay? So that is why we try to encourage the consuming public to, as much as possible, report to us so that we will go and fish them out. Because we don't monitor them, because we don't regulate them, we are not able to guarantee the kind of quality of product that they sell. And if you buy that into your vehicle or motorcycle, the possibility of it getting destroyed is higher. So we are asking people not to patronize them. There are a lot of people who say that, oh, when you go to buy their product, it is either cheaper or is higher in quantity. You understand? But you don't know where they are buying their things from. You don't know what kind of product that they are selling. And so fuel adulteration is something that we are working so seriously at. And the last time I checked, I think we've been able to reduce the preponderance of that from a percentage of around 23 to around 5%, okay, in the system. That's how we've fought this particular menace, and we've not stopped. We continuously are doing that, and so regularly, every year, we have what we call the Consumer Week celebration, where we choose a location and go and educate the people, and depending on the issue that is on the table or the burning issue at that time, we make it the team and try to rally people around to get that particular thing eradicated. Okay. Presently, it appears that adulterated fuel is of a major concern. So last year we were in Ho, where we had the Consumer Week celebration, where we sensitize and try to educate people on the effect of buying adulterated fuel and the need to report to us anytime you have a suspicion or evidence of one, so that you come to us.
We'll come to the consumer part, and you also tell us how one can get certified to run a fuel station or a service station. We'll be right back after this break. This is a Lowdown on Ghana Web TV. Welcome back from the break. This is the Lowdown. My name is Nii Akwei Ismail Akwei. Our guest is Mohammed Abdul-Kudus. He is the communications manager, for the National Petroleum Authority. So we're talking about some consumer activities we've held in Ho and other places. So what exactly do you expect to get from the consumers in terms of the fuel that's bought?
Okay, so we expect a feedback, particularly complaints, okay, so that when you go and buy something that is unwholesome, or you go and buy something that doesn't meet the standard, okay, we encourage consumers to report to us. We have a dedicated lines with dedicated officers regularly, okay, that if
Are they in every region or?
Yes, okay, so NPA is in the traditional 10 regions.
Okay.
Okay, the new or additions that has been made to the number of regions, we are yet to have offices in them. But outside the Savannah, Northeast, OT, part of Bono, that is what we don't have. But the traditional previous 10 regions, we have offices across.
Okay.
And when you call us at the center, depending on where you are calling us from, we just call a particular unit at a particular location to go and ensure that what has been complained to us indeed is true. And if it is true, we immediately stop the station from dispensing or probably apply our sanctioning regime to you.
You wanted to mention the number
yes,
to us?
Yes, the numbers are 054 500 611.
Okay.
054 500 611.
So we can report anything, filling station.
And the other, yes, we have 054 500 6112. Okay. The other one is 054 500 6111. This one is 054 500 6112. And we have a Vodafone toll-free line. Okay. So if you are using Vodafone and you call that, you call it at no fee at all. And that is 0800 123 00. 0800 12300.
And what are some of the things you'd want people to call when they see going wrong at filling stations or service stations?
Anything that they are unsatisfied with or about.
They'll call you about pricing.
You see, when you call us about pricing, we probably have the opportunity to educate you, to let you know that we don't determine prices at NPA, okay, because it is a free market out there. And that is what the amendment of the Act in 2015 envisaged, and said that let pricing be determined by the people, depending on where they are coming from with the product. So practically what is happening today is the forces of demand and supply. When the price goes up in the international market, it goes up at the pump. When it comes down on the international market, it comes down at the pump. That's what we do. Okay.
And now this very teeming question. How rich are you supposed to be? Or which political, position do you need to have to be able to own and run a fuel station business in this country? Since you are given the certification.
Yes, that's an interesting question. Yeah, so everything starts and ends with us. Because the Act of 2005, Act 691, has actually empowered us to license whoever wants to deal in anything related to fuel in Ghana, and particularly if you want to site a filling station. So two things. One could be the OMC, the oil marketing company. To have an oil marketing company license, you must have a minimum of 7 filling stations.
Okay.
Okay, you must have 7 filling stations.
That's a rich person, obviously.
Rich person. That's relative. That's relative. But obviously, you don't need a sole proprietorship to establish that. It could be a partnership, it could be a company where you pool resources, okay, and come and invest. I'm not sure my law would allow me. If not, I probably after this show would be partnering you so that we acquire a license. So in the acquisition of the license for a bulk oil distributor, that's the people who import, okay, into the country, you would have to come to the National Petroleum Authority with your application. So we would assess your capacity, as in the expected charge that we are supposed to give you, the storage facility that you are supposed to put your product in, the the financial statement that guarantees your ability to run the license. When we are certified per our law, will allow you to operate and give you the license accordingly. Then we have the oil marketing company. They are virtually like the intermediaries. If you go and bring it from abroad, you don't sell it. You are supposed to sell it to an intermediary. The intermediary is the oil marketing company, what we call the OMC. So they are supposed to have a minimum of 7 filling stations to qualify to run. You also would have to come to NPA. Okay, give us every documentation that we require that you are qualified for a license. Then when we give you the license, you go and operate. If you as an individual want to be in the fuel business, but you don't have the capacity to be a BDC as in importing the fuel, or you don't have the capacity to be an OMC that is having a minimum of 7 filling stations, but you know that you probably can put up 1 filling station, you are supposed to come through the OMC. You can't on your own come to us. You're supposed to come through the OMC. So we have what they call the no objection letter. You come to us, then we'll now set you out to go and bring documents that shows that that area, first of all, has been zoned for a commercial business. Okay. 2, that place is out of danger. So it is not too close to a school. It is not probably too close to a welder. It is not too close to the road. You understand? So you bring all of that. When you bring it to us at NPA, we would then now, assuming all of that has been ticked correct for you, you've gone to town and country planning. Town and country planning, they now have a sexy name. I'm not able to recollect immediately. They've changed something special and something. So they would have to zone areas, residential, commercial, what is it called, a market and those things. So when you go to them, they would have to tell us whether that place is actually zoned for commercial business, because you are going to go into a commercial activity. Then you go to fire service. Fire service must be able to guarantee that, in fact, for every fire standard that is supposed to be available so you don't get yourself into trouble in the event of fire, then they also tick. Then you go to EPA. Then APA will also look at it and assess everything. So all of that, and the district assembly would all certify. If they all agree that you can do it, then you now come to us at NPA. Then we would also now have things that we want to look at. How close are you to the nearest filling station? What is the standard of your infrastructure? Do you have what it takes to really operate? Okay, do you have, let's say, a washroom? Because washroom is mandatory and a requirement at the service stations. Okay. You get to the filling station to buy a fuel, and probably you need to attend to nature score. There must be a washroom. So part of that would ascertain that. When we are satisfied with all of that, then we would now license you. So it is not a guarantee that because town and country planning has certified you or EPA has agreed with you. No, you do not need a political connection to come to NPA to acquire the license. No, all you need is your proof of documents. Somebody will say pink sheets, right? You bring them to us. We'll look at them. When everything is clear, then you are free to go. And so at the end of it, it is the board that determines, not even the chief executive. The chief executive only signs on the letter that you have licensing you to be in that particular business, but it is the board that takes that decision.
So the board of the NPA takes a final decision
Absolutely.
To give license to individuals
Absolutely.
to operate fuel stations.
Absolutely. So the license, it starts normally with the inspection and monitoring, when they have to go to the field to ensure that everything they require of you, you have it. Then it comes to the licensing department. They also do their own checks and everything. When they are satisfied, they now write to the chief executive, who minutes it to the board. The board looks at it and takes the decision. You are supposed to have a license, you are not supposed to have a license. That also includes even those that we deactivate their license.
Indeed, you need to be powerful to be able to get through this successfully, because
it's about your paperwork.
Your power, yes.
It's about your paperwork. Once your paperwork is good, would work.
Well, this is very interesting, because we see a lot of fuel stations, a lot of filling stations, and people say this belongs to this political person, that belongs to that person, and we see all of them. But it's part of the business.
You see, I don't think that politics must be a barrier to somebody's wish to be in business. It's a choice. The person decided to be in politics. Okay, you have no idea why probably the person had decided to be in politics. Okay, maybe it's for somebody who he admires and decided to join the political party of the person. But ultimately, the person is a business guy or a businesswoman and employs a lot of people who probably he has no idea of their political affiliation, their ethnic background, their religious denomination or anything. So, in You don't need anything. Like I said, all you need is in your evidence of your qualification. We assess you based on that. It doesn't have to take a phone call from a certain politician or a religious leader or a chief in a traditional place to authorize us to give you. No.
Well, there's an interesting thing you mentioned. That's every filling station needs to have a washroom.
Yes.
Before they are given the license, part of the requirement.
Yeah.
But I don't think we see a lot of that. And personally, I've been to some filling stations. They don't even want to give you access to their washrooms.
Okay, so not wanting to give might not be the same as not having. Okay, they probably are having, and maybe a certain abuse.
But they're supposed to have it for the public.
I agree with you. They are supposed to open it up to the public. Well, this I've not actually found out from my inspection and monitoring department whether they've encountered that. So this could be part of the things that we need to be told. And we've had incidents of people reporting filling stations, service stations who are having washrooms that are not proper or fit for purpose. When we get that particular information, we'll come to you.
Okay.
Yes, we'll come to you and ensure that it is there. Like you said, there could be the possibility of some having it, not open it to the public, but immediately NPA shows up at the station, they open for NPA to see that, okay, they have it. But like I said, because we cannot be at all of the places all of the time, you and any other person who visits the place, for example, and has a problem, you report to us. We would have to go there and make sure that you are opening it to the public and it is fit for purpose.
Are supermarkets part of the things you look out for when people are opening service stations or even filling stations?
Not necessarily. Not necessarily. The mat, they sometimes open some of the mat, but it could add up to the value. But it is not a requirement.
It's not a requirement.
No.
And the banks and the other things that are attached to some of the filling
It probably
stations.
is an added value, because so if I'm going to have to do a banking transaction or buy 1 or 2 groceries, okay, and my fuel is equally running down, and you have one, you could be attracted, okay, or you could be an attraction for me to want to come there and then buy, then do my little shopping. So there are added features, okay, that adds to the value and standard of the place, not necessarily a standard requirement for which you don't have, will not grant you the license, not at all.
Okay. So when is the next, inspection going to be done? Is it going to be...
Regularly, as we speak, people are on the field.
They are on the field.
Regularly.
And this time we may have some reports out there of the findings, or we don't need to know.
No. Oh, we will. Okay, so, like I said, before the close of last year, we published some. The next one that we're going to be publishing, you see, a lot of the time we put them on our website and then some selected newspapers. I try and talk to my director, and then we probably make Ghana Web an ally, because Ghana Web is a traffic zone where a lot of people go to look for their information. So probably make an ally out of you, so that those information we share, and then the public can get to know that, in fact, we've been sanctioning a lot of them. There are a lot who we've deactivated from our system of loading. Before you load for, we have to give you the access. Yeah. And the system is controlled by us at the head office there. Immediately we take you off the database, you cannot load for. You can't, and your filling station will be locked up. You don't have full at all. Maybe people don't know all of this thing. Like I said, we might look for a day, and then you would have a walk through our office and see the infrastructure or the technology with which we work.
We are looking forward to that.
Absolutely.
And recently, the chief executive of NPA, he was calling on investors to invest in some of the petroleum, outstream activities in the country. Yeah. Have you received any investments so far?
Oh, I think this call has just been made. Ghana is being showcased in Dubai. The expo, the 1 year long expo that they are doing, Ghana is being showcased. I saw a picture of Burj Khalifa decorated in the colors of the Ghana flag, and I felt so proud of that. The president is there. A lot of the chief executives of the various agencies and ministries are there, and they are taking 10 to sell what they have. And our chief executive, Sheikh Dr. Mustafa Abdul-Hamid, took his turn and decided to woo the investor community out there to come and do business in Ghana. One, because we are one of the safest places you can talk about within the sub-region. And two, we have a certain regulatory regime that guarantees you, one, a protection of your investment, and two, the expected return for which you come to do the investment. And so he's trying to encourage them to come here. We would want a lot of refineries in Ghana. We don't have that much. Like I said, we have just about 3. And even with 3, 2, Tor is not fully functional. And the other 2, their capacity is so small. So we'd want investment in that particular sector. We'd want investment in the oil jetty fields where the ship comes to anchor and then to deliver the product that it is carrying. So we have a lot of places in the downstream sector that NPA is responsible for, that investors can come and invest and be guaranteed of their returns. And that is what my chief executive in Dubai, I think since Friday, has been doing.
Well, investment will be good for the country, and
absolutely,
definitely we all want the best for Ghana. This is the Lowdown on Ghana Web TV. Our guest is Mohammed Abdul-Kudus. Thank you for coming. He is the communication manager for NPA, that's the National Petroleum Authority. We'll be right back every Monday and the next Monday on all of Ghana Web's digital platforms. My name is Nii Akwei Ismail Akwei. Be safe.